This is a story of one family from Gaza, their terror and terrible loss and their fight for answers. It's a mystery about much-loved relatives who've disappeared and asks, is this Israeli policy? And how many others have vanished in Gaza? It's also the story of a single photograph. On the left of the picture is Huda Alakad. Next to her is her 78-year-old mother Aisha. They're in the back of an Israeli military vehicle. There's no explanation from the Israeli military about why they're photographed like this, why they were detained, and very little detail about what happened to them afterwards. Their surviving family members are clinging to the hope that somehow their relatives are alive. They only discovered the picture recently, some 2 years after it was taken, and they urgently want answers.
By God, I demand justice. Our whole family does. We hope they're alive and we can get them out. We want a medical body, anybody, the Red Cross, anyone to stand with us, go through all the procedures and find out which prison they're in.
We want justice and someone held accountable. We want to know what happened to them. Where are they? Have they been killed by the Israelis? Are they in Israeli prison somewhere? We want to know.
We've been looking into the photograph with a team of investigative lawyers from around the world. We've pieced together the events leading up to the disappearance of the women. We've interviewed witnesses and surviving family and examined satellite images. We've compiled open source intelligence and scrutinized the soldiers' social media posts. The Glan lawyers have been involved in several legal cases against Israel in recent years. Together, we're left with multiple worrying question marks about the women who disappeared.
This photograph, at the very least, illustrates that these two women were taken captive by the Israeli military in very degrading conditions.
As a human rights lawyer, it's one of the most worrying things that can happen when a state takes in people and makes them disappear.
When this is done systematically, it may amount to a crime against humanity.
We need to take you back to December 2023. A temporary truce between Israel and Hamas had broken down, and the Israeli military was launching what became known as fire belts in Gaza, a line of rapid aerial bombardments. Israeli troops then moved into the Khan Yunis area. The Alakad family and thousands of others were ordered by the Israeli military to leave their homes. In the face of these military maneuvers, most of the Alakad family fled, but their elderly parents, Mohammed and Aisha, refused to go, and 3 of their grown-up children stayed with them. They were sons Iyad and Zakaria and their daughter Huda. In this satellite image before the onslaught, we've highlighted the series of homes where the extended Alakad family lived on 5th Street in the Al-Katiba neighbourhood. As the fighting became more intense, the relatives who'd already fled were begging their parents to leave too. They recorded a call thinking it would be their last. Their parents and siblings were now trapped with Israeli tanks on the street.
Hey!
2 different audio experts have told us the background sounds are consistent with drones, gunfire and explosions. Bakir rings his trapped brother Zakaria with his wife Tarir, who's frantic with worry.
ناموا في دار اياد روحوا كلهم ناموا في دار اياد دقوش في الهذا مش كويس خطر
دقدوق يا من دقدوق محمد
شعرضوا كلهم
عارف ايش قلت لك انا عارف الحزام النار بده يهجج كل العالم طب انت بتسمع صوت الدبابه غاضب بتحرط على الارض هذا عنده خش في الحكوره يا معلم
خش والله يسوي
Satellite images from 6th of December show Israeli troops closing in. 80 vehicles are visible within a few kilometres of the house. Several are moving along a road that leads directly to the family's neighbourhood. The next day, the troops are much closer. 2 military bases can now be seen and have been established less than 400 metres from the house. By December 8th, there's heavy fighting and explosions around the nearby Al-Katiba mosque. The Israeli military says via telegram channels they've been attacked by Hamas fighters. 2 soldiers were killed in the fighting. The mosque was destroyed. The Israeli military announces the dead soldiers are from the Golani Brigade's Battalion 12 and issues videos of them operating. The same day, the trapped siblings say their father's been shot by Israeli snipers in his backyard and urgently needs help.
My My brother called me and said, "Our father's wounded and we need an ambulance or the Red Cross. Get help from someone." I called the Red Cross and they said they couldn't go to the 5th Street. I called the ambulance and they also said it's a combat zone and they couldn't get in.
The Israeli troops are still very active in the area. The trapped siblings frantically call and text that Israeli gunfire and armed drones are stopping them reaching their wounded father in the backyard. They watch from the house as he bleeds out and dies. His body's never been recovered. The siblings and their mother flee to a neighbour's house on the same street. The surviving family members lose contact with their trapped relatives around this time. Video taken from inside one of the Alakad homes shows it was comprehensively trashed by the Israeli military action. Room after room is a pile of destruction. From one balcony there's a glimpse of the rear. That is where their parents' home used to be and where Mohammed, their father, was shot whilst praying in the backyard. This is what the family returned to when the troops withdrew 4 months later. They found nothing but destruction and body parts.
When I went to the body, I didn't know who it was because half of it was missing. The body remained there for about 2 months.
Our investigations could not determine exactly how or why the two women ended up with the Israeli soldiers. Only the soldiers can answer that. But at least one witness said they saw the elderly Aisha clinging to her son Zachariah as troops dragged her away. The Sky News data and forensics team and the Glan investigators separately confirmed the identities of the 3 soldiers pictured in the Israeli military vehicle. The soldier far left is Lieutenant Ido Meir, commander of Leopard Platoon in the Golani Brigade's 12th Battalion. Next to him is Sergeant Dolif Mor Yusuf and then Amit Elyakov. Sergeant Mor Yusuf posted the photo on social media before hastily deleting it. None of them replied to our requests for comment. The IDF issued several videos at this time, including showing the 12th Battalion in the area the same day Mohammed was killed and around the time the 2 women and Zachariah disappeared. Soldiers from Leopard Platoon also posted pictures of themselves there. In one, again geolocated, Sergeant Mor Yusuf is seen in what was once the Alakad's backyard. Behind him is the Alakad home where the interior video was taken. Sergeant Mor Yusuf is seen posing in another house with bulldozed land behind him and military vehicles. This one, again posted by Sergeant Mor Yusuf, shows the Leopard Platoon with a sniper platoon. One of their members also posted on social media. Sniper Sasha Abramovich is geolocated to the same spot near the Alakad homes, corroborating their claims of snipers operating where their father was killed. 5th Street, where the family used to live, is now unrecognisable. The whole area has been pulverised. All the Alakad family homes have been destroyed, and with them the chance of any forensic assessment of exactly what happened and who might be buried was also destroyed. The survivors are now all living in tents and until recently believed all the relatives who'd stayed behind had been killed. Then they discovered Samar's husband Iyad was actually alive and in an Israeli prison. Her lawyer managed to visit him.
His condition is okay. He's thinner than before. He weighs about 60 kilograms. She told me he's fine, but he's got spots on his body.
So whose body parts were in the destruction of the family homes, and what happened to the 2 women after they were pictured with the Israeli soldiers? There's no record of the women in any Israeli prison and no record of their deaths. We've sent all these letters and emails to a range of different commanders and Israeli authorities. We've got just one reply from an official Israeli military WhatsApp account, and an unnamed official replied to us saying that the incident had been referred for review. That was in February. They admitted that the women had been what they called temporarily detained along with others, but they say the women were released soon after in an area further from the troops' operational activity. But the Glan lawyers say that's not good enough.
It's not lawful for the Israeli military to go around detaining people arbitrarily, not keeping any records of why, not keeping any records of for how long, and not keeping any records of when they were released, let alone not releasing them in circumstances where they're safe.
Thousands of people have gone missing in Gaza since October 2023. A report this March by ISIP and the Palestine Reporting Lab found between 14 to 15,000 people remain unaccounted for, but it can't differentiate between those buried under rubble and those it describes as forcibly disappeared. Gaza's health ministry says that although thousands are still under the rubble, families believe this is not the case for around 3,000 relatives. The ICRC says it has even more reports of missing people still unresolved, between 5,000 and 6,000, with fears that many are being held incommunicado in Israeli detention centres. In many instances, these people were last seen in the custody of Israeli troops. The Israeli human rights group Alakad says it has individually documented 800 such cases. A range of other organisations too have logged high numbers of people who vanished in Gaza after being last seen with Israeli troops, and many fear the high numbers point to a systemic policy.
We know of these hundreds of cases of people that have just disappeared after being held by the Israeli forces inside the Gaza Strip. These numbers and this policy that's been ongoing since the start of the war is clearly not an accident or some upheaval in the first days of the war. It's something systematic, and that's how we can say it's a policy.
Multiple organisations say appeals for information about missing people go unanswered by the Israeli military and the government bodies.
It's also very common, unfortunately, for people to be forcibly disappeared in the context of the ongoing war in Gaza. There's a significant level of complicity from different levels of the Israeli state and institutions with this practice. It's very difficult to obtain information, and attempts to do this through the legal system have so far mostly failed.
The suffering for the Alakad family is in no way lessening. Like so many thousands of others, they're crying out for answers about what happened to their relatives who just vanished in Gaza. Alex Crawford, Sky News.